Okay, as we enter week 12 and we begin our 2-week break, I'd like to kind of summarize what some things that we've been talking about this last couple of weeks with regard to coding, and some things to keep in mind as you spend the next couple of weeks analyzing your data. As we talked about length, make sure that you spend the time doing good analysis, so that whenever you do begin your write-up, which will begin in the first part of May when you come back, it'll be clear for you. You'll have a clear idea about how you want to organize your text and what you want to say, both in terms of the results and the discussion. So I want to draw your attention here first to the web page in Thesis Seminar, and remind you, if you haven't already, to take a look at the class announcements. The class announcements, or the most recent class announcements, can be viewed or accessed directly from this box in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. You can also go into class announcements and see all of the videos that have been uploaded throughout the course. So I definitely would look at these last few, I would say 4 or 5 videos, 6 videos that directly pertain to coding in the methods section, things again we've been working on over the last couple of weeks to help direct you in your own writing, making sure that your your method section is completed correctly. So remember that the instruments that you are referencing in the method section, specifically in the instrument section, you state see Appendix A, see Appendix B, etc. And all of your instruments should appear at the end of your document as appendix. Make sure each appendix is on a separate page, so make sure you have a page break for each one. Make sure that you have a heading for each of your appendixes, and you'll typically want to have Appendix A as a level 1 heading, double space, then as a level 2 heading you want to create the title of the instrument, so you might have teacher questionnaire or student questionnaire or observation sheet, etc. And then any demographic information in the heading as well. You might have, for example, you might want to write out the name of the university and then the demographic information that is relevant to that particular set of participants. Now, the last thing that we haven't mentioned that we will talk about first thing when we come back in May is adding a code list. So we talked in our tutoring sessions this week about creating a coding list, and we need to create this coding list in outline form that will be added to your appendix, and we'll reference briefly in the method section. But again, kind of holding off to discuss that until you actually have the coding list. But do make sure that once you have completed the coding process over the next couple of weeks, that you go ahead and write up your coding list. Now, there's another page here from our website that I want to discuss, and if you click on method, you'll see some I think helpful videos for coding, and also some presentations that you might find useful. So you'll find slight variations in how the speakers here and authors are discussing coding, but the general concepts are the same, and again, just kind of reinforcing a lot of what we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks. So I just wanted to make this available should you need to go in and find a review in any particular aspect of the coding process. Remember this week that the reflective journal is not due, so you don't have to worry about that. This week we finished up the method section, so all of your 3 sections should be completed. Remember that each section should have 1 paragraph, so you'll have a paragraph for participants, 1 paragraph for instruments, and another for research design, or you may call it procedure. We've been pretty specific as far as what to include in each of those 3 sections, so just check your class notes, check your recordings from your prior tutoring sessions, and fill that out accordingly. Finally, if anyone needs assistance over the next couple of weeks, I will try to schedule a few Google Plus Hangouts. These are very similar to Skype if you're not familiar with Google Plus Hangouts, and would prefer to have these discussions. They can be one-on-one, but if need be, we can group these together. We can have up to 9 students in one Hangout at a time, so I don't mind scheduling these. I would prefer to do that instead of just replying via email, unless it's just a very basic question. simply because a lot of the questions that you're going to be having at this point really need a live discussion. As far as me trying to provide better feedback, I think it might be a little bit easier and might help avoid any misunderstandings as far as the feedback that I'm giving you. So if you do need assistance, let me know when you might be available to meet briefly online, just to clarify. Another reason I like Google Plus Hangouts over Skype is simply because we can do screen share, so we can both look at your document in real time and discuss any doubts that you have. So I don't mind doing that if you do need assistance over the next couple of weeks, but do spend the time creating the analysis, or going through the coding process and categorizing, going through the different cycles of coding, and try to refrain from writing or thinking about how you're going to organize your text at this point, simply because I think a lot of these doubts will kind of emerge as you go through the analysis and specifically the coding. So I hope this helps. If you do have any doubts, let me know, and look forward to seeing your work coming back in May and hearing about how you plan to organize your results and discussion section.